It's recording.
Mm.
The wonders of technology, eh?
Mm. Here is the end of the system. It's Saturday. Today
Right.
we are in facility created by photos by
That's
Arthur
me.
Wilson.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Mm. Today we are in the talk about ways of the hacking machine. So there are so many ways of hacking. There's so many hacking machines that are out there. And so many people are talking about it. CNET, TechRun, Twitch.tv,
Right. It's
and
security. Security, I think, is a buzzword. It's something that most network administrators are charged with keeping the network secure. The people that you get your internet service from are jumping through hoops that you never see. There's a lot of goings on in the background, internet security wise, that you'll never be privileged to. Like there's some servers I've got set up that I've blocked entire countries from having access to that IP address because there's so many hackers going at it versus legitimate people. Like one country I won't name, they might be having the Olympics in this country. I won't say their name. It starts with a B. Anyway, one user in all of that country has legitimate need to access the site. He's a subscriber, et cetera, et cetera. All the rest of them are up to making no good access to the site. You can't make 40 simultaneous connections on port 80 and be up to good stuff. You got to be doing like email scraping or some sort of.
well, beyond what do you know? Right? Well, one early on, what happened? Early message. Yeah, so what was something that in like well there's so many people on our site things like that. Yeah, so
Can you see me now?
yeah.
Okay. For some reason, this interface goes away. It just hangs up. And the
So what was
price,
he gonna say?
well, the price is free,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not really something you have to worry yourself sick about because it's not costing you anything. It's like, so what? It's kind of like just refresh the screen, you come back in, you continue to talk about security and so forth. Um,
Oh,
and that could be a security bug. There could be a bug in it that someone's figured out that if you're using this port number, well, we'll just do a hack at that number and make it go south. So anyway, that gives them joy. They're having fun.
what was
Anyway,
he saying earlier? Yeah,
in
you
the
were saying something.
in the show notes, one of the things you talked about first off is password protection, and as time goes on, we'll have the show notes available on the YouTube link and so forth. I'm sure, but the the show for the purpose of conversation right now, having a password vault means you don't use the same username and password for any two accounts. Okay, so you have your login for say Twitter. That's a separate and unique email address and password from Facebook, from Google Plus, from the rest of every login that you have. And any of the authentication methods that you have, particularly Google, because they have it quite a bit, I use it all the time, is what's called two-step authentication, where you log in with your username and your password, and then it says, oh, well, we're going to send you the verification code for this account to your cell phone. And then you'll get a voice message on your cell phone that's quite lengthy. I don't know why they take so long to say what they got to say. And it says your access code is, and they'll give you a 6-digit number. In America, it's 6 digits. Might be different in Europe. I don't know. And you type that into the window on your computer, your desktop, your mobile device, whatever, and then you're authenticated into your account. And then Google's network says, oh, well, you're supposed to be here. So if you have an opportunity to use two-step authentication, do it. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You'll be that much more insecure. The other thing about security is that when you have this password list that you keep, please don't save it in raw text so that anybody can read it. Make it encrypted, and it too has to have some level of security. Like it's over 100-bit encryption. I won't say how many because that gives away the recipe a little bit, but it's over 100 bits of encryption to get to my password vault. So if you had a sophisticated network system and you spent a number of years decrypting it, you could eventually could break it. Except I change it every so often. So what you have today, let's say if you cracked it today, it won't work tomorrow. Okay? You keep updating it. Yeah. So security is an important job. If you've got someone that's doing it that's not making you feel like they're really on the job doing it, because a good network administrator, and that's American dollar applies. American dollars, a good security network administrator is probably going to cost you about $70,000 a month. If they're really good, if you have a big enough network to warrant that kind of an investment.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'm pulling your leg. It's $70,000 a year. I wanted to see if you'd have a reaction to $70,000 a month. No, it's $70,000 a year, which is still over $5,000 a month. It's still a lot of money, but you got to be that damn good to make that kind of money.
Yeah.
And so, if I go back to the show notes, we talked about password protection, and I got to go here in the notes and open the notes again.
And then we always talk about privacy and phishing. Why you need to mention with security.
Right. I think that goes back, Critters, is how good of a network administrator do you have? Does he know how to monitor simultaneous connections from a single IP address to your machine? And then does he know how to trace that IP address to its original source, not the fake address, because some people will fake their IP address, but the real true address that they're using to access your network. How do they go about that? And then you can go to, there's places like iptracker.org that list known bad guys. If the address comes up and it says, oh, check this address, you go, oh, well, we know that address. It belongs to somebody in country, whatever. And we know that they're going to be up to no good. There's a bot running on that IP or whatever. Then you simply block it. You just go to your control panel. And if you don't have the ability to do that, to say to your network administrator, your manager, hey, I don't want this IP address to access my network anymore. Can you block them? And if they can't do it, change hosts. Get a different guy swinging the bat. And lastly, the big important, the bold part of the show notes is how important it is to Google to keep your passwords safe. I think that the demonstration of two-step authentication where you can get a phone call to your cell phone. So they not only would have to know your username and a password, they'd also have to have your cell phone number to know where that code is being sent to get into your account. That's a step up from the norm. 20 years ago, you didn't have such a thing. You had a username and a password, and you got in. And nobody figured out they could make money by exploiting sites.
Many people don't know how to use password or how to what password you need to
Right.
make it
A lot
stronger.
of the time, it's simply this. If you tell the people, don't use your house number for your password, don't use your dog's name for your password. Your password should contain four things: uppercase characters, lowercase characters, a number, and a special character like a dollar sign or such as that. The shifted number keys on your keyboard. Those four elements are the toughest to crack. Now, to take it another step further in that effort is, if you're a coder or know a coder, have them code you a script that doesn't use all the letters of the alphabet, doesn't use all the numbers. Like, say, number one. Number one in lowercase l is probably the worst character to have in a password, because if you write it down on a napkin and hand it to somebody, they'll look at it and they go, well, is that a 1 or an L? So there's characters that are best served to get rid of. Don't use those as part of your password generation script. Years ago, back in 2000, I think 2001, we had a big discussion. He's passed away now, and rest his soul. He's a great guy. Mike Jackson was his name. Mike sat down with me and he said, okay, let's take this alphabet and let's throw out all the bad characters. Okay? So the instances of bad characters in your password generation script would be like an uppercase O and a 0. Those both go away. If you have a 0 and I send it to you in an email, depending on your font set, you're going to look at it, and at first glance, you might not know, is that an O or a 0? So then, do you want the person to have to try both to get it to work? No, you just take that character out. You don't have a lowercase l. You don't have a number 1, etc. And there's a number of other ones, and I won't tell you my whole alphabet selection, but I know for sure that there's no 0s or uppercase O's. There's no 1s or lowercase l's, and a number of other things in that recipe that I call making up the ingredients that you build your password from. Like, I don't say what special characters I allow to use. I don't say how many characters do I have in each string. Like, some passwords might be 8 characters. Other ones might be 14. Because if you control the script, you can dictate how many characters are generated. And then once it's generated in your password vault, you can then select how many you want to apply to that actual login. So you can get pretty encrypted wise, pretty secure by not using the same method, the same password every single time. So if you have a login for one instance of login, that's the only place in the world that knows that login. So if someone ever gets your Twitter account login, that's all they're going to get. Okay, they won't get anything else because nothing else uses that authentication method. So the two-step authentication method that's at your disposal from Google, should give that a go. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it's doable. Nobody died. I'm still here. So that proves that even old people can do it.
Old, younger
Right.
people, older people, grandma, granddad, mom, dad. aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters, they all can do it.
Sure.
Even women.
And so
Hmm.
we'll probably talk more about security and authentication in future shows, being that this is the security show. But I'm done. I think I've got
Yeah.
everything that I was going
And
to say
they'll
today.
help you figure what is up at that's on the government and
You know, the interesting thing about Fraser in the show notes, many months ago, probably about the first of the year, one Thursday
hmm,
afternoon, Fraser Ramsey came into Blab and he says, "Hey, Guy, what do you think about doing the cook report?" And I at that point, that background you can see behind my head, I have that
yeah,
background already bought with the intent of doing a podcast. But I was, quite frankly, I was being a chicken. I said, "Oh gosh, what if it doesn't work?" And all those negative things you think of. And I said, "Well, I guess I can't really say I don't have a name, so I can't do it because now he's given it a name." So we started off with the cook report, and we used that for a few weeks. Then we went to
yeah,
SEO and search engine searches for the cook report. I was coming up on like page 14, way down in the
yeah,
shuffle. So that gave birth to the Guy Cook report, and the rest is history. We've done 150 episodes now, thanks to Fraser for coming up with the idea. We got to blame somebody. We'll blame
yeah.
him.
And also my husband, also report this idea. Check him out on my
Yeah.
report, you want me to know them, you can check him out on Mondays and Fridays, top now, or maybe on Firefox or Packer, what I need to say.
Well, you can always get the show notes to find out what we're talking about. Is always available on the GeyerCookReport.podbean.com. And what I like about Podbean for doing podcasting, if anybody's listening that wants to set up a podcast, by having your content, your audio content, uploaded into Podbean, it is then automatically redistributed to iTunes, which you have a graphic, of course, to
Yeah,
put in. Put into iTunes, you get, I don't know how many places that scrape from iTunes and redistribute
yeah,
your audio. If this show is put into iTunes, easily it could be on a dozen other networks, content
yeah,
delivery networks within the day. Within
yeah.
the day. Absolutely. So give that a go.
And just,
A little shameless plug for Podbean.
and also check out Spencer Sutton, like, check him out up there. Also our Firefox and Facebook, that's in the show notes. And yeah, till next time, keep it up.